I had mentioned it earlier, this concept of bringing back the 5-on-5 traditional Survivor Series match, in my words, I'm stoked about this. I am a fool for old school. I think I've made that perfectly clear on this show.
I thought you were just an old fool.
I am just an old fool as well, yes. But this matchup, while not all the players involved excite me, I am excited to see the tradition of the 5-on-5 come back, and I hope that more matches are added with the traditional Survivor Series rules, because, when they kind of killed that concept in '92 and went to just another traditional type of pay-per-view, I think it took a lot away from the uniqueness, if you will, of the Survivor Series, and so I'm stoked about this. And the way they picked the teams, I think everybody probably pretty much knew where they were going with it once they brought out CM Punk's team. But, Foley adding Ryback to the mix. And I was kind of surprised not to see Cena in there somewhere. So I'm curious to see where he's going to wind up. I'm assuming something with Dolph Ziggler, and we'll get into that a little bit more on this show as well. But for me, Survivor Series 5-on-5, and I do hope it is the main event. I'm very excited about it.
Now, can I ask a question? We talked about the teams and how when one was announced, it was predictable who else was coming.
Sure.
You just said once you knew, was it Punk's team announced first?
Yeah.
Would it have made more sense if they did it almost draft style, where it was one person at a time? Or would it have still...
I mean, if they were going with the way they were going to go with it, then, yeah, I mean, it wouldn't have made sense to me, who's the GM now? God, I'm drawing a blank. Vicky Guerrero,
She's not the GM.
Right.
She's the managing supervisor.
The managing supervisor.
Find it on the flow chart.
Yeah, have that authority figure lay it out that way, because if Paul Heyman and Mick Foley were legitimately picking teams, wouldn't you go for maybe the best guys on the roster? Maybe as Mick Foley, maybe I'll pick the Big Show to be on my team. But then storyline wise, and I get that, storyline wise it wouldn't make sense. It makes more sense the way it happened. And I'm satisfied with the matchup itself. The way they picked it was a little bit, you kind of had to suspend that bit of reality to accept what they were doing.